Hello friends, the second topic of domain 2 of CISSP is about ownership of information and asset. And to better understand the asset ownership, we need to understand the concept of asset management lifecycle, ITAM, change management, configuration management. And as these days we are dealing with more software assets, that's why we also must know about software asset management, software licensing, software libraries, and monitoring and reporting of all these. And this video is all about these concepts. So let's start with the ownership first. Ownership is to have control on the asset for making any decision related to any change, any addition or any removal of the asset or any component of that particular asset. And in information security, we cannot implement any security control without knowing who the asset owner is. Means we must take confirmation from the asset owner before implementing any security control. The reason for the same is owner only understands the proper functionality and any impact of any changes within that particular asset or on that particular asset related to the business or processes. That's the reason we must have clearly defined roles of data owners and data processors. Also, the roles will change in different phases of asset management lifecycle. So the asset management lifecycle define the phases of the assets. Roles and responsibility for data owners and custodians are within each phase. And any important security functions such as incident response, vulnerability management, and configuration control are improved when roles are well defined and well understood within any phase of asset management. As per the NIST Special Publication 1805A, asset lifecycle have total 8 phases. These are strategy, plan, design, procure, operate, maintain, modify, and dispose. With clearly defined roles and responsibilities in each phase, we can say asset management helps to reduce cost, improve services, and mitigate any risk towards that particular asset. But you need to understand that in asset management also, we must cover formal assignment of ownership. Also, we can use the concept of ITAM, that is IT asset management, SAM, software asset management, while doing the same. Let's discuss these and the impact of the same on the asset security. In organizations, the CEO or Chief Executive Officer or its authorized delegates have the formal ownership of the assets. So they are responsible for the protection and security of the information asset of the whole organization. So we also must understand the responsibilities of asset ownership. So we can say keeping the information assets inventory up to date is the responsibility of asset owners. Also, some more responsibilities are identifying the classification level of the information asset, defining and implementing appropriate safeguard to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the information assets. Also, they need to assess and monitor safeguards which ensure compliance and report any situation of non-compliance. Authorized access for those who have a business need for the information should be provided by the asset owners only. Also, they need to ensure the removal of any access for which there is no longer any business need, right? So now let's understand the concept of ITAM, which stands for Information Technology Asset Management. ITAM refers to a set of policies and procedures that an organization uses to track, audit, monitor the state of its IT assets and maintain the system configurations. These assets can be computing devices, IT technology systems, IT network, softwares, virtual computing platforms, and any related hardware like logs, cabinet, and keyboard. ITM helps in the selection and application of baseline security control. It also helps in continuous monitoring and reporting of asset status. Also, it helps us to implement any detection system related to the anomaly in the network. Also, it helps us in provisioning of any context to detect anomalies and cybersecurity events within the reporting and analytic engine. ITM can help us in contract management, management of licenses, update and configuration, identification of assets, certificate and pool of delivery, operational support, patch management, distribution of application. So all these are covered in ITAM. ITM also helps in change management. Now what is a change? A change is an event that is approved by the management and is implemented after mitigating any risk to the production infrastructure to an acceptable level. And it also provides increased value or capabilities to the organization. Change management covers the rollout and prioritize changes in a controlled manner. So we can say change management helps to protect any adverse impact on the production environment or live applications. So there is a proper change management workflow in which first we need to create a change request, then we need to review the change request, then finally we need to assess the change risk, and after assessing the risk we need to approve the same. Once it is approved, we need to implement the changes, and once those changes are implemented, we need to close the change request. So this is the whole life cycle of change management. Next is configuration management. So just doing the inventory of changes is not enough. We must also use configuration management, which will help us in controlling and documenting the changes in any configuration for systems and software. Configuration made without direction can lead to problems in other security areas, like in vulnerability management, because hardware and software requirement for upgrades and patching might not be available or it can be missed. So we can use guides or checklists to accomplish and maintain a secure baseline configuration for asset in our environment. Configuration management have 5 elements. These are configuration planning and management, configuration identification, configuration change management, configuration status accounting, and finally configuration verification. Now the next is software asset management, or SAM. We use SAM to automate some of the security functions such as risk-based decision making, collection of software inventory, and network access control. SAM can also cover vulnerability scanning, application patching, third-party application updates, firmware updates, and operating system patching. So we can say SAM help us in inventory of application, knowing current list of known vulnerabilities in our environment, prioritizing each vulnerability by the risk level defined, deciding application patch level. It can also patch or apply alternative or compensatory controls whenever required. In total, we can say SAM can help us to reduce serious disruptive and damaging events such as ransomware, denial of service, or any unauthorized attempt. But to manage the software asset properly, we need to understand about the software licensing. These days, most of the assets we are using are software based. That's why we need to do a proper inventory of the software licenses, be it manual using an Excel file, or we can use our automated system such as an inventory management system, and we use them as per the terms defined in the software licenses. We can say software license is a set of rules for its uses, and it is a legal binding agreement. So it is very important to know the licenses of the software, and also we need to have a proper inventory of the software licenses with us. And this library of software licenses should be protected with proper technical controls for access, as well as with complementary physical controls like putting them in a safe. Let's understand what are the different types of software licensing models. So we can say principal function of any software license is to permit an end user to use the software in a prescribed manner without violating any copyright laws. So the first one is the perpetual license. A perpetual license is one where a software application is sold on a one-time basis and the licensee can use a copy of the software forever. And the next one is a floating license. A floating license allows you to define a specific number of licenses to an application that is shared among a specific group of people. Example, if I have purchased 20 floating license for a particular software in my company, and there are 30 people who are going to use those licenses. So those 20 persons who came first, they are able to use those licenses, and the next 10 people, they need to wait till the time the first 20 people return these licenses to the pool again. Then comes the subscription license. So this is the most used license these days, because in this particular case, the end user licenses the application on a reoccurring basis for a defined period. It might be 30 days, a monthly subscription, or a 365 days, an annual subscription. Subscription typically have no defined end or termination date, and they automatically renew after the initial term. Next is the metered license. Metered license means that as a licensor, you can license your application with a limited access to any aspect or feature of the application that can be metered. For example, you might meter the use time of the application, or you could meter access by a user to a particular feature of an application, like number of login to an application, number of CPU cycle consumed, number of times an item of the data is accessed. Next is the use time license. In use time license, the time the user is given access to an application is licensed. The time can be metered to a certain point, after which the license is no longer valid and the application cannot be accessed. Other license types are site license, which is a method to obtain multiple user license at one cost. The same piece of software is available to a negotiated number of users. Some licenses use the combination of these licenses or are modified version of these licenses, like try and buy, multi-feature, pay-per-use, etc. Next is software library. Software library is a repository of data and programming code that is used to develop software programs and applications. So a software library generally consists of pre-written code, classes, procedure, script, configuration data, and more. Normally, a developer might manually add a software library to a program to achieve more functionality or to automate a process without writing more code for it. Like if you are developing a software and you want any mathematical function or operation, then you can add a mathematical software library to the program to eliminate the need for writing complex mathematical functions. Central to the software library is the approved product list that the organization maintains. This list contains all the software code that is tested and approved for use by authorized individual. The inventory helps security professionals assess vulnerability management of software developed using software library. A proper inventory of the software library helps the security professional assess any vulnerability management of software developed using those software libraries. And the next is monitoring and reporting. End user devices, servers, and network devices must be monitored for missing update, for inventory, for any software which is not in the approved product list, and much more. Also, monitoring without reporting is useless. So the outcome of all these monitoring must be reported, and all this must be part of the asset management process. We can use automated scanning tools integrated into reporting environment to ensure that the endpoint and nodes meet the security baseline and patch levels like SolarWinds tools and other tools. So this is all in the second topic of domain 2. So keeps on watching for more such topic videos of CISSP. Thank you friends.